Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Hey, it's Boox Tab XC day here at my house. Let me show you what I found so far. I've already got the device set up. I set it up on my network. I went ahead and logged into my Boox account. And then I've been playing around with a couple of notebooks, but I wanted to give you my impressions. And you can see that it's kind of already loaded some of my stuff on here. But I wanted to kind of give you my impressions of the device, mainly right off the bat from a writing feel. That was my biggest concern getting it, is can this be, it's probably a great tablet, and it's part of the Boox Tab series and not the Note series, which indicates that this is to be more of a e-ink Android tablet than it is a note-taking tablet. It just, also takes notes as well. As opposed to the Boox Note Max, which is centric or centered around, handwritten notes, and also functions as a black and white, non-front lit and Android tablet as well. So let me give you some impressions of writing. I'm going to go ahead and choose a blank template here and hit create. I am a lefty, so I have to turn the screen a little bit sideways in order to write, but I wanted to give you my impressions of what the writing feel is like. And before I do that, let me go into settings and take you through. So when you go into settings, you come down here to more settings, and there's a stylus menu here. You've got, I guess, the first part of the menu is you can see the model, serial number, software and hardware version. And then here you've got haptic feedback. And haptic feedback, you can turn it off or you can set it to any of, other than being off, you can get it, I guess this is weaker and this is stronger, but you got a total of 5 dots or positions you can move through between there. It comes by default in the middle position. This is how it was when I first got it. And as I went in to begin doing some writing, um, this is writing tab XC. So you do hear a little bit of, you do hear some tapping noises. I don't know if I can scribble and erase all that or not. Missed a part, but you do hear some tapping noises. It's not excessive. I don't usually bang on the screen when I write, so it's not much that's affecting me at all here. But with the haptic feedback in the middle, this is a slippery screen for your hand to be on. It feels sort of like an iPad screen or maybe a Galaxy Tab screen as far as from my hand sliding across the screen. I do kind of like that sliding across, especially if I'm going to be drawing lines. I like the lack of resistance on my hand as far as that goes. Let's see if that scribble to erase is going to get that. No, it's probably not going to do it. But it does have the feeling of resistance, and I'm aware that this haptic feedback is I'm going to call it a psychological implementation of writing feel. And I could be totally wrong about this, but when I'm writing, it's got a good feel to it. It's a little slipperier than the Boox Note Max. I did also get the Note Max out for comparison. Let me enter my passcode. For a comparison on that pen and the writing feel, start a new page here. And there is not much of a tappy sound with the Boox Note Max, but I do notice now that the Boox Note Max is also somewhat slippery. And I think that's after writing on the Tab XC, it also feels kind of slick as well. But it's a little bit quieter. It's a little bit more controlled on the Boox Note Max, or I feel like I've got more control. But the writing experience here is not bad at all. I expected it to be much worse than what it is. And so I started playing around in the settings with um, I brought it all the way down to almost off, I guess you'd say, and then did some writing here. This is with it off. I don't like it with it off. It does kind of give me the impression that it's slippery and that I don't have as much control. That's probably psychological. Um, but let me go in here. I started playing with, taking it all the way up to the strongest. And when I write like this, I can definitely feel the haptic feedback in the barrel of the pen. So it's a very subtle but very noticeable, very fast vibration. It reminds me almost of, if you touch something that has a little bit of electricity running through it, it doesn't hurt you, but you can definitely feel the electricity running through whatever it is. I'm having trouble thinking of an example there, but I do feel that. And it's probably a little bit too much. So as I was playing with it, I decided that probably the best setting for me was the second to the highest, if I can hit it. Um, and when I write like this, um, I find this very acceptable. Sorry, making you watch me write with my left hand here. I find that very acceptable. So my fear is that this was going to be like writing on an iPad without any kind of a screen protector, and I don't think it's that way at all. It's probably the haptic feedback. So I may be the target audience for a marketing company somewhere that has created this haptic feedback pin and is trying to convince their potential customers that this is going to give you a paper-like writing feel. I do like the haptic feedback. So I think it does give me an improved experience over, having it completely turned off. And the question that I had for myself is, will I like writing on this device enough to not only make it my e-ink Android tablet, but to also make it my e-ink tablet for handwritten notes? And I would say my first impressions, I've had this out of the box for, 30 minutes or so. I would say that first impressions are I could definitely use this for handwritten notes. Not quite as good as the Boox Note Max. uh, I think the Note Air 4C is even a little bit better from a handwriting standpoint. It's kind of between those two because I kind of waffle between them, but so it's not quite as good as that, but I do find it it's very acceptable. It's something that I could certainly live with. So I also wanted to do some comparisons between the Tab XC screen and the Note Air 4 screen, since they both have the Kaleido 3. Let me put my password in. Now, one thing I will say is that I am seeing some ghosting on the Note Air 4C, and I really haven't noticed ghosting over here on the Tab XC. I don't know if this is picking it up on the camera or not, but I've got some pretty bad ghosting. You may be able to see it disappear when I hit the refresh button there. Now it's gone. But I wanted to compare the screens and especially the front lights. It looks like I've got the Note Air 4C all the way up. Let me go ahead and bring the Tab XC all the way up. I'm using the wrong pen. Got to get used to, got to keep my pens in order here so I can remember which one's which. And I've got the warm light about the same amount on the wrong pen again, about the same amount on both devices. The screens are very similar. I find that as if I shift back and forth to the left in my seating position, uh, so there may be a little bit of an angle or some viewing angles or whatever on there, but the screens look extremely similar. Um, I would say that the Tab XC in this particular instance, no matter where I move to, it looks like it's just a little bit wider screen than the Note Air 4C. So with that said, I normally keep my screens at about 80%. And I'm willing to take the hit on the battery life because I want a good looking screen. And it still looks like the Tab XC is a little bit brighter than the Note Air 4C, but they're both fantastic screens. So that brings me to the question is what do they look like with the backlighting completely off? So let's turn them both off completely. Very similar. I think it would be hard to make a call that either one is lighter than the other one. They both look about the same to me, with the backlighting or the front lighting turned completely off. So with that said, let me bring it back up to about my 80% level. I probably have a little bit too much there. Um, so that, that's like I said, it's just so similar. It's hard to make a call between the two. So the writing feel, I would say good, better than I expected. Now, some people are going to write on this and you're not going to be enamored with the haptic feedback, and it's going to give you the feeling of writing on glass. You're probably, some people may not like the tappy feel on there. I will tell you this. I ordered a screen protector. It's called a Healing Shield Premium Protection Film, and it's for the Boox Note Max, which has the same dimensions as the Tab XC. And I did apply it. I wish I would have done this on video so that you could see it. But it's similar in concept to what you get on the Supernote Manta, where it's got that, it's supposed to heal as you write on it or whatever. It was very easy to install, no issues as far as that goes. But when I wrote, when I installed it on the Tab XC and I wrote with the InkSpire stylus on there, it went from being slippery, or I guess you could call it slippery. That's a pretty satisfying feel to me. And that could just be the haptic feedback that's fooling me into thinking that that's a good feel, but I like it. It seems that I've got, decent control. So, and that's what's important to me. I could live with this. This is good. I would give this a passing grade. But anyway, when I wrote on that Healing Shield screen protector with this pen on this device, it became too resistive, and I was actually having to exert too much pressure to move my screen across that screen protector. Um, I did, and it's probably the stylus, because I did take the Pen 2 Pro that I use with the Boox Note Max, and I wrote on that screen with this one. Of course, it won't write on it, but I did run it across that screen protector, and it was a much, much better feel. So, it was designed for the Boox Note Max. It fits this, but it doesn't work well with it. So I think as manufacturers come out with these types of um, screen protectors for the Tab XC, it would be something that I would probably try out and see if it's something that I would like. But as it sits right now, I could live with it. So anyway, just wanted to give you first impressions on the screen compared to the Note Air 4C, and then the writing feel. My impressions of that. I know it's hard to. Everybody has their own preferences. Everybody has their own tolerances as to what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. And you may not be enamored with the haptic feedback that's on there. I like it. I can't wait to use this device. I'm going to use it, at work beginning tomorrow. So really looking forward to that and taking notes on it and really using it as an Android tablet as well. I do have the Boox keyboard case that fits both this and the Note Max, and I plan on using that in there as well. Um, I did make a modification to the, I'll show you something real quick that I did if I can find it. I did make a modification to the keyboard cover that fits these devices. I bought some, I hope you can see this on screen, but I bought some weather stripping that had a stick-on back to it, and I cut it to fit in this crack here. And I want to show you, I'm going to use the Boox Note Max because it's not front lit and you can see it a little bit better here. Um, but as the Boox Note Max fits in, it still leaves a little bit of a gap right here, which is needed. But when I close the keyboard cover, it's a very tight fit. And if you've seen any videos where this thing moves back and forth, this is not moving. It's not going to slide across the device. It's not going to move at all. Um, so I found that as a good stopgap to the complaint that a lot of people have about the keyboard cover. you know, going up against the screen, and then you've got that kind of a, you know, cross action that goes on there. So that completely eliminated it for me. One weird thing is that when I try to close it from this side, sometimes it knocks the Boox Note Max out of alignment and it won't stick like that. But as long as I close it from, let me get that back in alignment. As long as I close the keyboard over here, you can feel that it's a very snug fit and I don't have any of that movement. Anyway, it's just a kind of a DIY hack trick. You can also see here, hopefully, that you know, this pretty well filled up the gap that was in the air gap that's in between the cover and the, I guess, the keyboard and the device itself. So anyway, just a hack that I made up for myself. I like it. I tried gluing some stuff on there first, not to the device or the keyboard itself, but to the case. So that's why mine looks a little rougher in that crease than and you might wonder what that is. Anyway, so thanks for watching the video. Hey, if you have any questions about the Tab XC that you'd like to see, I plan on posting some additional videos in the coming days of more impressions as I get to know the device and get to use the device. If there's things that you would like to see, please put those down in the comments and I'll see if I can include that next video. Thanks for watching.